I ain't gotta prove nothing to nobody else. That's why I don't never get too hyped about the win after I win, because it's like you always gotta do something over and over again till you done. And it's always gonna be somebody next, somebody next, somebody next. So I feel as though I don't have to prove myself to these people.
Let's go! Come on! Come on, man!
You know what I'm saying? So we are striving to be the best that we can be to be on that level again, you know? So, you know, you saying you want to do what you want to do, that's good, because that's what you want to do.
That's the God in you that's trying to
that's good.
seek it,
and,
you know?
And you giving back and giving thanks.
Gervonta Davis is sharpening every weapon in his arsenal for his fight with Jake Paul, proving that his knockout power comes from relentless training, not just natural ability. His camp focuses on strength, timing, and durability to stay dangerous in every moment of the fight. On the other side, Jake Paul is treating this matchup like the toughest test of his career. He has brought in elite sparring partners such as Shakur Stevenson, Raymond Ford, and Montana Love to help him improve his speed, reactions, and confidence before facing Tank.
So that's boxing at its finest right there. You heard it. They said it. Make that bad. Everything on the line. You know, that's old school right there. That's everything on the line.
Gervonta Davis places a strong emphasis on conditioning that strengthens his core and prepares his body for the impact of powerful punches. He has felt the effects of brutal punches in the ring, so he knows exactly how important toughness and stability are during a fight. His training includes intense drills that test balance, posture, and resilience while improving the explosiveness behind his punches. Everything in camp is running at full intensity as he continues to build strength, stamina, and a strong mindset for the challenge against Jake Paul.
Box. Ain't nobody breaking.
Box. Exhale.
Ain't nobody breaking.
Box. Man, boom on that last break. Box.
Fight for it.
I got him.
We take shit.
Box.
Yeah, I felt it.
Good, perfect. That was your best rep. Come on.
Jake Paul is also deep in training camp, and he is treating this fight like the biggest challenge of his career. To prepare for Gervonta Davis, he is bringing in high-level talent to help push him beyond his limits. Shakur Stevenson is joining him for sparring sessions, providing Paul with valuable experience against one of the most technically skilled fighters in the sport. He is also working with Raymond Ford and Montana Love to improve his speed, timing, and defensive reactions. Paul knows Tank is faster, smarter, and far more dangerous than anyone he has faced before. So every day in camp is focused on sharpening his boxing skills and building confidence for fight night. Gervonta Davis has built his name in boxing through hard work and dedication. His journey speaks for itself. Trainer Calvin Ford has watched him grow from a young fighter with dreams into a champion who shines under the bright lights. Ford says that the success seen on fight night does not happen by accident. It comes from long hours in the gym. It comes from discipline. It comes from sacrifice. Davis has worked for everything he has earned. From the start of his career until now, he has never stopped improving. As Davis prepares for the Jake Paul fight, many voices in the boxing world have shared their opinions.
Tank story, man, it's just so much stuff. And me and Kenny was sitting there talking about, and the majority of it is when he was little. We talk about all the stuff when he was little, and he started laughing like, dang.
When I get by myself, I always try to like think about like back in the day stuff.
Yeah.
But we can
I
tell.
just noticed that just now, me talking about it. But when I get by myself, I be trying.
No, we can tell.
Yeah,
When I listen to your interview, I like listening to your interviews that you do, and I can tell when you reflect back on certain things.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can see it. That's when I think you at your peace, and you start reflecting back and you talking about.
When he say something that we told him a long time ago,
and
like,
I
we
said,
thought he
damn,
forgot it.
we like, damn, he did remember that.
Yeah, he remember that
Yeah.
shit.
I see Brody been calling you a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as far as on the what you call it, trying to fight you. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Veteran trainer Abel Sanchez sees the matchup as a major opportunity for Davis. According to him, many fighters give boxing their entire life. They give their bodies. They give their youth. Yet, they still struggle financially. Sanchez says that this fight is different because it will reward Davis for everything he has given to the sport. The financial benefits are huge. Very few boxers get that kind of chance in their prime. Sanchez believes that Davis deserves a moment where boxing pays him back. A fight with Jake Paul might not be for a ranking or a title. Even so, it promises a reward that can secure a future. Sanchez thinks Davis should take advantage of that.
As a fight fan, I don't like the fight, but as a coach, I think it's a good move for Tank Davis. I mean, I've seen too many kids go out of this sport with not a cent in their pocket, and I think that if Tank Davis takes advantage of a big payday like that, I think it's a ridiculous fight as far as a fight fan. But as a coach, I understand it. You have to take care of your own.
Yeah, you know, well, actually, now that we're talking about it, you're not the biggest fan of it. Fight fans are bringing up like, hey, you know, why did he go this way when there's Lamont Roach? Like, look how close that fight was. There was a draw. We were expecting a rematch in that fight.
Yeah, well,
What's happening here?
As much as we hate it, it hasn't become really a sport. It's become a financial sport. So he took it because it's 5-6 times more than he's going to make with Lamont Roach. That makes sense. I mean, anybody, ask anybody if they have a choice, they're going to take the money. Of course, he's got to take care of his people. He's got to take care of himself. He's got to take care of his future. That's the smartest thing to do. As a fight fan, I don't like it, but as a coach, I understand it.
Yeah, no, and I think anybody in that position, like, we got to like put ourselves maybe sometimes in that same situation. And I think
Absolutely.
anybody with like any like sense of like common sense would look at that and be like, wait, I'm making this much to fight against this guy that's only been fighting for 5 years compared to what could be maybe a really hard fight. And I'm going to make double, triple. Yeah, I'm going to go. Let me do this little side quest real quick. And let me get this money real fast. And then,
Of course, you have to take care of your future, man. If it's offered to you, you'd be foolish not to take it, especially against a guy that is no threat to him.
oh, well, I don't know. This 50 pounds, Abel.
Yeah, but he's no threat to him.
Uh,
Tank Davis fights the way he fights. Understand that Tank Davis fights. He's probably one of my favorite fighters. I think I've said that many a times. He fights in a manner where he's fought all those big guys. Look at the way he throws his punches. Look at how he ducks down like if he's fighting a real big guy. Look at the way he fought when he knocked out Garcia. Look at where he puts his head and how he throws his punches. In the street, that's who he was fighting. He was fighting bigger guys than him. He was always a smaller guy. So he knows how to fight those big guys. He knows how to duck up underneath and throw those looping shots because that's who he fought in the street. At least that's my opinion anyway. He's always been the little guy, and I'm sure that in the streets he wasn't a choir boy. I'm sure that he had his moments.
Chris Algieri also appreciates what Davis brings to the sport. He points out that boxing today is not only about skill, it is also about attention. It is about star power. It is about who can fill arenas and create excitement. And every time Davis steps into the ring, fans show up. The energy increases. People watch because they know anything can happen with Tank. He is one of the best finishers in the sport. He has knockout power that keeps crowds on their feet. Algieri says that Davis has become a symbol of boxing's new era. When he fights, it feels big. It feels like entertainment mixed with greatness. Algieri believes Davis understands how to stay relevant in a world where capturing attention matters as much as winning rounds.
Could be Jake Paul soon, and it's
the
face of boxing is basically. Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again, these are created
after this
products.
fight,
These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
the world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
It's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set, and all over your phone, and all over. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about the shoe.
There is also a discussion surrounding Jake Paul and whether the fights he has taken are fair or staged. Carl Froch and Paulie Malignaggi shared their view that the fights are not staged, but the circumstances often favor Jake. They believe that Jake enters fights with advantages that make the matchups easier for him. They expect something similar here. Jake is bigger. Jake is heavier. Jake will likely have rules in place to reduce Tank's strengths, and Malignaggi are realistic about the business side of boxing. They know promoters want a good story. They want a spectacle. That means the environment may be set up to give Jake the best chance. Still, they admit that Davis has the skills to change any plan. If the fight becomes a test of pure boxing ability, Tank is the superior fighter.
A real fight, because they realized, an exhibition, you could stage it and they couldn't take bets on it. So this is an exhibition. There is no betting on it. So that means, I'm not saying people are going crazy with the opinions, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You don't know what size gloves they're going to wear. You don't even know if they're going to stage the whole thing, because this is something that, as an exhibition, it's not illegal to stage it. So I think this could be all kinds of crazy, wacky stuff. This is a bit of a circus, in my opinion.
Who would you think should win that fight? Would you think that Davis should be able to get in there, even though the size did 100 pounds? Do you think he should be able to do it?
If they don't stage it and don't kind of set up a sort of a mild sparring session, I'd say Davis has a chance. Depends on the size of the gloves. Because here's the thing: Jake is probably 100 pounds bigger than the guy. That's a lot of weight, Carl. You've been in a boxing ring. That still counts. And if you make the gloves small, Gervonta could technically hurt Jake even if he hits him. But the problem is, if the gloves are small, Jake could also hurt Gervonta, because Gervonta's so small. Gervonta's so much smaller than him. So do you make the gloves big, and then really, who's got an advantage? I don't know. Technically, Gervonta's a lot better boxer, but he's so much smaller. I've stood next to Jake. Jake's a big guy. It's like I said, it's a bit of a circus freak show, and that's why I don't put it out of the question that this exhibition could be a bit staged in the ring.
That's fair enough. That's a fair point. That is, and actually,
people aren't talking about that enough. I feel like people aren't talking about that enough.
Well, he's threatening to sue everybody who talks about it, and anyone who talks about it.
Well, that's because his fights have been sanctioned, and I personally don't think he has set up the other fights. I personally think, like Mike Tyson, he had no legs left. You know what I mean? I to tell you the truth, I thought that was an easy one to bet and call. It was that Jake would beat Mike Tyson, and even some of these other fights, they're smaller. Jake doesn't set up his fights. I think what he does is he stacks the deck against his opponents in those fights. So I wouldn't call them staged, but they're deck stackers. So he has an advantage. In this situation, though, an exhibition can be staged.
Shakur Stevenson looks at the matchup from a technical standpoint. He acknowledges that Jake's size advantage is real. He is stronger in terms of natural body weight, but he says size does not win fights alone. Davis has experience at the highest level. He has fought champions. He has defeated skilled opponents who train for boxing their entire lives. Stevenson predicts that Davis will not chase a knockout. He thinks Tank will deliver a smart performance. He will use his speed. He will control the distance. He will stay composed and collect rounds. Winning on points is the outcome Stevenson expects, because Jake is not easy to drop. Even so, he believes Tank's boxing skills will make the difference
between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. Been boxing since a kid, so I doubt that's going to be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just going to knock that guy out. So I see him outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out, although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision?
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no. Nah, that ain't really I mean, like I said, here's the thing. I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be okay, I want to watch it.
Weight is a major focus for fans and analysts. Some believe it is unfair to put a smaller boxer like Tank against a bigger opponent like Jake Paul. They say the weight gap is too large and could affect safety. Others argue that elite skill beats size. They trust that Davis has enough speed and accuracy to handle the difference. Boxing history includes many examples where the smaller fighter wins because of superior craft.
It is happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Robert Garcia speaks from experience as a trainer and former champion. He says there is nothing wrong with Davis accepting this fight. It is his career. He has the right to make choices that benefit him. Garcia's concern is timing. Garcia feels Davis is still writing his story. He has championships to win. He has matchups that fans want. Many analysts see the event as a worldwide spectacle. Jake Paul became famous through social media and entertainment. His fan base is huge. He brings attention from places outside of boxing. This means the fight will attract viewers who do not normally watch the sport. To some experts, that is positive. It helps boxing grow. But others believe it weakens the sport because pure competition becomes less important. Jake is not a traditional boxer. There are also concerns about rules. Some analysts suggest that Jake Paul will want the gloves heavier and the weight higher. These conditions would protect him from Davis's knockout power. They think such changes are the only way Jake can last more than a few rounds. If that happens, Davis may need to be patient.
Contest before something like that, but I don't know. What's your just take on the whole thing?
I'm not very interested. That doesn't excite me. I know it's going to do really good numbers. I know they're making a lot of money, which is good for them, good for Tank, because in boxing that's what everybody looks for. I think it's, the good thing is they announced it as an exhibition, which is, I'm okay with it. Everybody does it. Mayweather has done it. Ali did it. The only thing, my personal opinion is Tank. They all did it when they had already accomplished so much. They already did so much. Mayweather did everything in boxing and accomplished everything. Muhammad Ali did the same, and many others that have done it. I think Tank never gave us the fights that we really wanted. Never really gave us those challenges. He never really challenged himself. He didn't give Rhodes that rematch, which he should have. Mayweather did it when he had a hard time with Maidana and Castillo. Right away, he did the rematches to prove everybody wrong, and look at what he did. He beat him clearly. So Tank should have done the same. He didn't. That I could criticize, but then at the end also, if you're making 30 to 50 million, I don't even know what he's making to fight, to have an exhibition against just Jake Paul, I would have asked. I would do the same.
No one would say no to that. Right?
If I had one of my fighters get an offer to fight a big celebrity, a big YouTuber for $20-30 million, I would probably do the same. So I don't blame him. It's boxing. At the end of his career, 20 years from now, nobody's gonna care how many belts he won or who he fought.
Bernie the Boxer takes a direct approach. He gets annoyed when people say they are happy for Davis because he will make money. Bernie reminds fans that Davis is not poor. He has earned a lot already. Money should not be the main topic in boxing. Fans want great fights. They want competition. They want champions facing champions. Bernie argues that the sport loses meaning when financial gain becomes the only focus. The matchup between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul represents a clash of the old world and the new world of boxing. On one side stands Davis. He is a product of the traditional boxing system. He has been trained since childhood. He fought his way through gyms and tournaments. He earned his position through struggle. On the other side stands Jake Paul. He built his fame outside the sport. He entered boxing through entertainment.
With Tank, and it's I kind of don't really care about the fight no more. Starting to lose a little steam.
But I'm
You know,
saying,
it's
I
hot.
mean, if he stops Pitbull Cruz, right? I mean, don't you think that people would want to see, Lamont and Tank more due to the fact that, Tank had a hard time with Pitbull?
No, I think people just want to see Tank versus Lamont because Lamont, he had a hard time with Lamont. It's just like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. People just like controversy. People just like, you know what I'm saying? So people like to see finished business. They don't want to leave it unfinished. And that's what the intrigue is. They want to people want to see finished business. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that's the intrigue of the fight. And it doesn't make no sense why they taking so fucking long to fight. Everybody keeps saying that Tank getting the money, but is we getting the fucking money? Is we bidding there for the fucking money? Is he gonna give us some of the money? Are we waiting on him to feed us any bit? No. I want what I want. Fuck that. I'm selfish. I'm a fan. I want to see the fucking fight. I don't want to see no fucking circus. You know what I'm saying? So for everybody saying, oh, he get the bag, who gives a fuck? I hope he do get. He already rich as fuck. He already won 30 million in the last fight or something. He got more money than I'm ever gonna have. I don't give a fuck. I want to see the fights. I'm a fucking boxing fan. I want to see a fucking fight. I don't want to see no farce.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.